Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drive. So now we're going to jump back into the nitty gritty where we react to all the tiny little RQ changes that came with PL14. Now, in the first part, I said that I found these RQ changes super interesting because perhaps it would give us an insight to how, developers at the Top Drive's team kind of look at the cars and how they see the meta and all those little changes. However, at the end of the first part, I was actually addressed by Hutch, and thank you to you guys for actually watching my videos. I do appreciate it. And they basically told me, to my understanding, I am pretty stupid, but to my understanding, it seems that there's an algorithm more so than anything else. More so than anyone just inputting like actual number changes. There's like an algorithm based off percentages and mathematics, and I was never good at math. You guys know this. So, but what I am good at is top drives. I am a seasoned veteran and I know the metas, so I want to look back at all of these little RQ changes and see if I agree with them or disagree with them. So without further ado, we got a lot of cars, a lot of changes to look into. We're going from super rare all the way to legendary, and well, let's just start reacting and let's just see if I agree or disagree with some of these changes. We saw from the first part, I did agree with most of them, but there are going to be some outliers where I think, okay, that doesn't seem too right. And the first one off here, straight off the bat, is the E-Pace. I think the E-Pace is good at 41. When you get a car that has four-wheel drive and standard tires and is capable of hitting, 80 handling or more, you're getting a pretty decent bang for your buck. So that going down in RQ makes it an even better car because it's cheaper to use. However, I do disagree with it. I think it should be 41, even 42. I know it's not as good as the Dodge Caliber, so because of that it might stay 41, but I think 40, I don't think it deserves to go down. The Nissan X-Trail, that just, rest in peace, buddy. Handling cut, acceleration cut, top speed cut, the Atlas going down, I agree with that. The Alcyone going up, I also agree with that. Here's another one that I completely disagree with, and that's the Dodge Avenger RT. I think that this was one of the strongest RQ41s in the game, and the fact that it went down to RQ40 doesn't really seem right to me. It's able to hit 89 handling, it has medium ground clearance, and it is one of the best lower end, I guess, city street saloon cars. Just look it up. There aren't a lot of saloon cars that are able to hit 89 handling max, so the Dodge Avenger RT is really, really good. If anything, I expected it to go up to 42, maybe even 43. 40? I never expected that to go down in RQ. Moving up here, I mean, it's interesting to see the Citroen going up. This is a car that not a lot of people own, so it's really hard to test. I don't even have it. The fullback going down, I get that. It's a really heavy car. It handles well, though, but it does underperform. Yep, Rover going down, I agree with that as well. The Caliber going down actually doesn't make any much sense to me. I always thought it was 42, but I guess it was 43. But it went down to 42. I don't agree with that. It is a very good car. It handles well. Once again, four-wheel drive standard tires. You cannot go wrong with that combination. I thought it was okay as a 43. What I think is interesting is that it used to be 42, and I think in a recent update it went up to 43, and now it's gone back up to 42. To be completely honest, I thought it was completely valid as 43. When it went up to 43, I was like, yeah, I see that. But then going back down to 42 is like, I kind of see that too. It just goes from a really average 43 to a really good 42. That's what I think of the Dodge Caliber, but that's actually a really good super rare, to be fair. And I think that's mainly because four-wheel drive standard tires is a pretty, I guess, small niche in the game. So having, just a handful of these cars are going to be game changers in the rain. So moving on now, the Beetle going up. To be fair, I never thought I'd be complimenting a Volkswagen, but I can see that going up. I maxed this out because of, what did I max it out of? It was for one of those special tags called Wild Part 2, I think it was. Max that baby out, and it actually helped me a crap ton. So it is actually quite useful. Still, not nearly as good as the Cadillac ELR, but this is medium. The ELR is low, but I digress. The ELR still handles a little much better, and the 0 to 60 is much lower. But I have to say that the Beetle is actually a pretty good car. XT going down, that makes sense in relative to all the new Subarus that we're getting. The X-Trail, rest in peace, buddy. 76 to 72. Navara is also going down in RQ. If it'll change to the 0 to 60, that's fine. The Infinity Q50 is getting a pretty big buff with the 0 to 60, going from 8.4 to 8.1, so that's pretty cool. And it does always, you know, it always has handled pretty well. The K5 Blazer going from 44 to 43, that's interesting. Having the K5 Blazer at 43, the K5 Blazer has always been the best car to use before American Frontier. It's kind of sad to see how far it has fallen, because this was my go-to, the K5, until the introduction of the Windsor, and now the Windsor is the car to go for. I'm not sure if the Windsor got a change or it stayed at 45. Oh, the Windsor went down to 44. So, okay. I'm not going to disagree with any of these off-road changes because it seems consistent. I see all of the off-roaders and all the all-surface tire cars going down by 1. It seems that Hutch is trying to raise the cap of what RQ49 means for off-road tires and all-surface tire cars. So because of that, I don't really mind all these cars going down as long as it's consistent. If it's the Ford Bronco alone that's going down, but the K5 and this Bronco, the OJ Simpson Bronco, not going down, then we'd have a problem. But it seems to be consistent with the whole hierarchy thing, so it seems to be okay. The Forester has a huge change from standard to all-surface tires. The handling got cut, 0 to 60 got cut, and top speed, funny enough, was increased. These SX4, yeah, I can see this going down. It's a pretty decent car, very lightweight, handles okay, but there isn't a lot of opportunities where I need to use the Suzuki, so for it to go from 45 to 44, I can see that. The AMC, though, going up, and the BMW going up, I don't know about those, Chief. The Crossfire going up, I completely agree. This is a fantastic car. Let's see what else we got. The Tremor going to 45, that makes sense. The Ignis going down, I can see that. Once again, I think this is a situation of a decent 47 going down to being a very good 46. Let's see, the Forester, huge changes here. Handling got cut, but it went to all-surface tires, went up in RQ. That's sad, though. Remember when I look at this car, I mean, it's an OG car. I had this when it used to be rare, for crying out loud. This is the car where I look at it, and I always think 85 handling, 85 handling, 85 handling. So seeing this not at 85 handling is going to be strange. I think now it's going to be, what, 79 or 80 or something like that. So it's going to be strange, not gonna lie. Yes, the SSR going on 46, I do get that. It is a pretty good medium ground clearance American car, but most people any day of the week are probably gonna go for the Mustang convertible. So moving on, the 850 going from 45 to 46. Now that's pretty interesting. I don't know why, because this is a car where, to be completely honest with you, I feel like is the embodiment of 45. It is the embodiment of average. I think this is a very average car. The 850 looks beautiful. In real life, it's fantastic. But in terms of the game, it's a very average car. Handling is average. Top speed is average, you know. So it's interesting to see it going up in RQ. Now this. I mean, the Miura, you put this at 48, I wouldn't bat an eye. You put it at 49, I wouldn't bat an eye. The Miura P400 is one of the best super rares in the game. For it to go up in RQ, I completely agree with that. Lamborghini going down, the Lambo from 48 to 47. I mean, I thought that it was a pretty weak 48, but I feel like it could have stayed there. Now I think it'll be a pretty decent 47 for sure. The M1 going from 44 to 47, this only means that it got a MRA boost. It has had to have a MRA boost because there was no MRA in this car before. The Z4, pretty interesting stuff, this one. So the handling got boosted, but the RQ didn't change at all. I mean, when you think about it now, I have this thing max. I think it's like 4.30 to 60. Mine's 332. So I think it's 4.30 to 60, and somewhere around, I mean, if it's 18 now, it would be like around 86, 85. That's pretty good. I mean, that's like RQ48 range. I'm surprised that this one didn't go up. This one went up. I can see that. It is standard tires. It is basically the Cadillac ELR after the ELR went low. The Phaeton also went up. I think this one's pretty strong now because the Lavorg got cut. The Lavorg as well. Oh, sorry, I meant the other Lavorg. The Legacy. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. The Legacy. The silver is standard tire. The Lavorg here, though, also went to standard tires, and the 0 to 60 went down. I'm telling you, man, this Lavorg looking pretty good now. I remember at the start of the update, people were saying, oh, the Lavorg is dead, they've killed the Lavorg. I don't think so, because we are still getting a four-wheel drive, all-surface tire car that is capable of hitting 86 handling. if you ask me, I think the Levorg is better at standard tires than it was at all-surface tires. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a great car. It's a Blossom choice, right? The Abarth going down, the Saicento going down. Pretty interesting about the Saicento. I think the Saicento should have stayed 49, but I digress. The Datsun as well, huge changes here. It's now medium ground clearance. That would take some getting used to. The handling got cut. The 0 to 60 got cut. That is pretty interesting. And the Legacy got destroyed, man. The 0 to 60 on this thing, 8.2 to 8.8. That's a 0.6 difference, man. And it stayed at 49. You're telling me that this car went up 0.6 in 0 to 60 and it's still at 49? I completely disagree. This should be 48 or 47. The Swift has went up as well. Welcome back. I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for the Suzuki Swift. It was 49, then went on to 48, then went back up to 49, then went on to 48, and now it's 49 again. It's been moving up a lot. And the 328 as well, moving up to 49. I'm only guessing that's going 49 because of an MRA boost. If this car had no changes in MRA and it just went up to 49, I completely disagree, because I think that it was one of the worst RQ48s at the time. If anything, it should be like a 46, but I digress, man. I might have had an MRA boost. It might have had an MRA boost. Moving on to the Ultra Rares now. Now, Ultra Rares, I freaking love Ultra Rares. I know Ultra Rares like the back of my hand, so I know if these are going to be valid or not. So these going down to 50, 51, I agree with every single one here besides the Camaro. The Camaro is like, I don't know, I thought it was a pretty decent 50 to be fair, but 51 is pushing it a little bit. Now I think it's one of the weaker 51s in my opinion. It's the same situation with the Shamal. The Shamal doesn't have MRA, right? Why is this 51? I mean, it's basically a worse version of the Camaro. It has worse handling, worse 0 to 60, just a slightly higher top speed, but it's not like both of these cars are known for the MRA, so I don't know why both of them are going up to 51. If this has to go up to 51, this would be borderline 50-51, and this would be the border cut. The Shamal should stay 50, so that's one car that I completely don't understand. Tribeca going down, the Kizashi, pretty interesting stuff, from 54 to 52, but it remains a standard tire 4-wheel drive car. That is interesting. I think this will be one of the best RQ52s in the game now. The Bentley Azure going up, no, I completely do not understand. The Bentleys are completely atrocious. The Trans Am, this was the, once again, this is the embodiment of RQ51 slash RQ50. I don't know why it's going up to 52. I feel like, once again, it's a hierarchy thing, because since that the Camaro is going up, oh, then they should push up the Trans Am. But in my personal opinion, I don't think any of those two cars should have gone up in RQ. I think they should have stayed where they were. I think they were perfect where they were at 51 and 50. Not 51 and 52. The Enclave going down, yeah, this is a bit of a disappointment. It handles really well, 85 handling. The problem about the Enclave is that it's just so freaking heavy, man. The Sport going down, completely agree. The Nismo, I feel like this is going, not the Nismo, sorry, the 370Z, I feel like this is going to be a pretty good car now, because I'll take handling any day of the week, man. The handling going up is a huge plus. I know that the 0 to 60 change is pretty fast, but, you know, it also going down in RQ. I think this is a pretty good RQ53 if you ask me. Bronco going down, that makes sense because the Frontiers in the game, the Frontier all surface, but then the Frontier handles less, so I think I would really still go for the Bronco. The Atom going up, I completely agree. The Miura SV, I disagree. I don't think the Miura SV should be going up in RQ, because it's worse than the Charger 3, and the Charger 3 is 51. If anything, I feel like the Miura SV should have gone down to 52, and the Charger 3 go up to 52. Put them on the same playing field. I think they deserve to be in the same place, because the Charger is going to win you the quarter, the half, and probably the 1 mile. The Miura is going to win you the test bowl. I think they should be in the same place. So for the Miura to go up to 54, don't really understand that. Really happy to see my BMW M3 going up. Just a slight little change in the handling, but that's huge. I mean, I have this Max, it goes from 85 handling to 86. Though, I don't think it should be 54. I feel like it should have gotten the handling upgrade and stayed at 53 if it was going to get the handling upgrade. That would make it a pretty decent 53, because it was a pretty weak 53 before. And being a 54, I don't really agree with that, to be honest. The Fish is going up as well from 54 to 55. Pops would be happy with that. Acceleration cut in the Z8. A lot of BMW changes. I wonder if all of these BMW changes is foreshadowing for what's to come. Oh, there, German update next. I think it's way too early to speculate, but I think that we should speculate for the new update now. because I feel like after 8 months or after 7 months, right after American Frontier, then everyone started speculating about what was it, the next update, which ended up being JPT. And I feel like only then, when everyone started speculating, Hutch was like, oh, okay, it's time to get to work. That's what I feel like. So if we speculate now, maybe Hutch will be working on the next update right now, and we won't need to wait for another freaking 9 months. I don't want every update to be the same length as how long it takes for a baby to be birthed. Or I guess to be, you know, from the sperm going to the egg to coming out of the tummy. C-section. I was C-section. C-section gang, all right, not the natural way. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, so many BMW changes. I'm actually really interested with the 540i. Now it's going up from 70 to 74. This might be a car that I want to keep. I like standard tire cars that are capable of handling, and this looks like my hair is so long, I know. And this looks like a, you know, a standard tire car that is capable of handling. The Vauxhall going up, I completely agree with that. The 911, I think this was the embodiment of 57. I think this should have gone up. Pretty interesting to see that the Mercedes AMG G63 is going down, because at the end of the day, it's still the best ultra quarter mile, half mile. JPT didn't change that. So for this to go down from 59 to 58, I don't really get it. This is a car that's in a class of its own. So whatever RQ it has, it kind of just dictates where it stands. The 340R going up, that makes sense. Quattroporte going up, that makes sense. These two cars are fantastic. And finally, the Subaru Impreza WRX has gone down from 64 to 59 with a nice little handling change. Thank the Lord, man. This was the absolute worst RQ64 car in the entire game. Finally, it went down. Finally, someone listened. That car is hot garbage. Finally, at 59, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense to be at 59. All is right in the world for that car. Z4 going up, agree. Sylvia going down, agree. Stealth going up, also agree, and the Expedition going down, agree. So most of these cars I do genuinely agree with. The Turbo Martini should go down to 59, not go up to 61. The main problem with Turbo Martini is that although it has good MRA, the on-paper stats makes it a bit of an all-rounder, and you're not really going to need it. You know, not much have I really needed a 70s all-rounder. Usually I'm using Specialist because a lot of 70 cars either have really low 0 to 60s, like the DB3S. I know that's not a 70s car, but you know what I mean, like 70 and before, so like 50, 60, 70. You got the Charger 3s, which are really good if they're 0 to 60s. So the Turbo Martini is a bit of an all-rounder. I feel like it would be more useful as a 59 than a 61, so I disagree with the Turbo Martini going up, especially since it has no other changes. Grand Cabrio, I understand. Guara going up, Mustang going up. I always thought that these two cars were a bit strong for RQ60, so I completely agree with those. The Europa, though, going from 61 to 62, I disagree with that. I think that it should have stayed at 61. Sierra is a great 62. XC90 handles still really well. I'm surprised it went down. This is a car where I felt like it was okay at 64. The Jag going out 63, completely agree with that. The Charger SRT8. Now this one's pretty interesting. From my top 3 best and worst RQ videos, I named the Charger SRT8 as one of the worst RQ62s that you can get. For it to go up to 63, I completely disagree with that. Once again, it's an all-rounder that doesn't really hit any heights in any strong places. It wasn't a good 62, and it definitely isn't a good 63. Maloo going up, I agree. Skyline, I feel like the Skyline bit skewed. I don't think it should be 64. 63 would be a good place to go for the Skyline. It would have been a very strong 62 if it stayed at 62 with its handling change. But going up to 64 of that handling, I completely disagree. I mean, if it went up to 84 handling and it went up to 63, I feel like that would be a good space for it to be in, not 64. The 037, I mean, this thing, how is this not an epic? How is that not an epic yet? I mean, I'm glad that it's not an epic because it gives me a chance of getting it still, but I can't seem to get the 037 to save my life. I have one, which is 332, and they made the handling even better, and they made the top speed even worse. They're just, remember when the 037 used to be the best, like, drag, rear-wheel drive off-road tire car to use? That's why I 332'd mine, and that was a really long time ago. Now it's gone from the best drag to the best twisty, and I've never gotten it again. It's really sad, actually. The 440 going up, I get that. M6, man, I mean, this is tough. Should it stay 64? The MRA is still fantastic, but that handling got cut. If anything, the M6 should go down to 63. I know the MRA is still fantastic, but at this point, if you cut the handling from the M6, you're making this more and more of an outright drag car, and it cannot survive as an RQ64 drag car with that top speed, especially when the roof BTR exists. So unfortunately, if the root BTR is going to stay 64, the M6 convertible, you know, with the whole hierarchy bullshit, should go down to 63 in my opinion. Anyway, moving on to the epics now, and honestly, the Audi S6, why is it 64? I don't understand. This car should have been like 60 or 62, 60, 61, 62, around that range, not 64. Come, this thing is just weird, sir. Moving on to epics now, I see a lot of BMWs moving around. The XC5 going back down, making it one of the best 65s once again. It used to be 65, went up to 66, now it's back to 65. 207 going up to 67. This was pretty interesting because the other two Peugeots, the one that's 65 in front wheel drive, that stays at 65, and I think it's like the T16, that stays at 66. I'm surprised that this goes up because I would choose the T16 over the 207 any day of the week. I know that this has better MRA, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, look at the top speed. You're not going to use it for anything. And the T16 has lower 0 to 60, better handling. I'd rather go that. I think it's called the T16. I don't know my Peugeots that well, to be completely honest. The Maybach going up, completely agree. The Challenger going up, I don't know. Did this get an MRA boost? Because I thought that this was a very, very weak RQ66. It's a weaker version of the Scat Pack. And the Scat Pack Charger is 67. So it makes no sense for this to be 67 if this is weaker in every way. This has had to have an MRA boost. If not, that is just wrong, sir. These Audis going up as well doesn't really make much of a sense to me. It seems like they're trying to raise the cap for four-wheel drive. I don't know. The F-150 Raptor going down, I understand with the, you know, now everyone has a Rebel TRX and everyone has the new Raptors from the Call of the Wild tags. I mean, I don't, but a lot of people do. That makes sense that this would go down. The Q70 got its MRA cut. Unfortunate. Because the MRA on this thing was really good. I mean, this was, you know, back in the day, before JPT, this was the RQ69 that had the best MRA. And we're talking like performance tire cars included, which is really sad. But it got cut now. But the 0 to 60 got improved, and the handling is still really good. To be fair, this Q70 is looking like a really, really good RQ68. Now you're getting a great short burst, twisty standard tire car. Handles well, low 0 to 60, standard tires, medium, and a cheaper RQ than it was before. The Q70, guys, that's one to watch. That is genuinely one to watch. That might even be Blossom Choice. I might be getting ahead of myself, but my god. The Q70 as well. Wow, what a change. Remember when this was an Ultra Rare? Pepperidge Farm remembers. That used to be a freaking Ultra Rare, that Q70. And now it's a mid-tier epic. It's not even a low-tier epic. It is a mid-tier epic. Amazing handling, lower 0 to 60. I mean, Jesus. A lot of changes in here to the lower ones as well. I mean, for the most part, we don't really use any of these cars anyway. So, honestly, if any of these cars were changed in RQ by just 1 or 2, no one is going to bat an eye. Nomad going down, yeah, completely agree. The Spider going up, completely agree. I mean, for the most part, I agree with all of these. The CC going up, that is spot on. The Skyline, I love the Skyline changes. You know, it handles better, 0 to 60 is faster, and it went from medium to low, and the RQ went down, and if anything, this is a complete plus for the R34. Agree with that. Cyclone, agree with that. I mean, to be fair, right, so Hutch, their algorithm for the RQ changes, for most of these cars, they do make sense. But there are some of them, you know, the ones that I've spoke out about where, you know, I disagree with, obviously. But, you know, for the most part, it's not bad. Here's another one I disagree with. The roof compressor. I thought it was one of the worst RQ73. So for it to move up to 74, it's like, bruh, what are you doing? That makes no sense. It has no MRA. It doesn't handle as well as a lot of its competition. I mean, when you look at it, these Lotuses are really what you want to use in twisties. And you're not going to use it for the drag because the MRA got cut. Useless. Especially now it's moving up to 74. It's the same RQ as the CLK DTM Mercedes, which has like 100 MRA. The compressor has just become even more worthless at this point. What? The Golf R from 74 to 75. That I completely disagree with, Chief. That I completely disagree with. The peaking, I agree. The I-Pace, I agree. Supercharge, I agree. The M4S, I have to say, I thought it was a really good 75. 76 is pushing it. Because although it has the MRA, it has the 0 to 60. No, not sorry, the 0 to 60. It has the MRA, it has the top speed. The 0 to 60 is kind of average. And the handling is weak. The handling was already quite so-so for an RQ75, but now for a 76, it's weak. For RQ76 cars nowadays, I would say that the bog standard is around 88. I mean, when you look at it, the Donkervoort's 88, the Grand Sport is 89. So for it to be 86, I don't really agree with that. I don't agree with the Aston Martin Vanquish Volante going up. I don't agree with the RS4 going up. I thought these two were, really good 75s. I know that the M4S was a really good 75 as well. So these three, I disagree. Mercedes going up finally as well, that the A45 is going down. Thank the Lord that the A45 is going down, because that thing was absolute garbage. One of the worst RQ79s. It's like the Subaru WRX for the Epics. I don't think it should be 77 though. Usually when a car goes from medium to low, Hutch usually cuts about 4 to 5 RQ. I think that should be 75 or 74 RQ, straight up, not 77. I still think 77 way too high. There was a time where this car was 76 as well, but I think that it should be 75. Let's say 75. I don't think it should be 77. These cars going up, completely agree. Diablo, not really though, but the Lotuses, I agree. TWR, I agree. 740D, after the buff that it got, I think from American Frontier or this update, I agree with that as well. Mustang going up, completely agree. Do not agree with the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, and I don't agree with the wide body. As much as I love the wide body, you cannot put the wide body in the same level of the Mustang GT4. The Mustang GT4, I agree. That should be 78, maybe even 79. The wide body though, no way. I mean, when you think about it, the Charger Hellcat is 78. You can't put the wide body and the Charger Hellcat in the same RQ, because the Charger Hellcat is going to be the wide body literally in every track set besides like G-Force and Slalom, and those are track sets you don't want to put Hellcats on anyway. So yeah, no, this and the Charger shouldn't be the same RQ. Either the Charger goes up to 79, which is completely valid, or this stays at 77 and the Charger stays at 78. Now I'm really happy with the upgrade on the Metro, because I have that. And then the Viper going up to 79, that makes sense. This car, the Viper SRT10, is a beast, an absolute freaking beast, and I believe that it should be a 79. BMWs, is give or take. I have to say, I do disagree with the CT6 and the 750 going up. I do disagree with those two. I think that maybe they can go up to 78. I thought that the BMW 750D was a great 77, should have stayed that way. CT6 maybe move up to 78. I mean, when you think about it, nobody wins here. Not the BMW, not the Cadillac. You know who wins here? The DS Numero 9. The DS Numero 9 wins, because the DS Numero 9 basically keeps its amazing stats. The only bad thing about the DS Numero 9 is that it has no MRA, but it keeps its amazing stats and it stays at the RQ that it was at, and I think that was 76. Meanwhile, the I-Pace moves up, the CT6 moves up, the BMW moves up, so its main competition, the DS's main competition, has all moved up in RQ, making them more expensive to use, but the DS has stayed. The DS is the real winner here, in my opinion. I also don't understand that the Bentley and the Flying Spur, or the Continental and the Flying Spur, have moved up in RQ. I don't know why. Did they get an MRA boost? I have no idea, but I don't think they should be 79. I think they were okay as a 78, but 79 I disagree. The Audi TT I don't understand as well. It's low ground clearance. It doesn't handle very well. It has, I don't understand. Why would you put the Audi and the Bentley in the same place? Both of these cars are the same. They're both low. They're both four-wheel drive. They both handle the same. One has a clearly better top speed that it will never hit, but one has a clearly better 0 to 60. Why are they both 79? I don't know. Maybe because the Audi is much lighter than the Continental, but at the end of the day, I think both of them should stay 78. I don't think both of them should be 79. And then last but not least, man, the Audi RS5. Why? Why does Hutch like to move the RS5 up so much? I remember when the RS5 used to be RQ26, and I said that it is the worst RQ26 in the game. Then they moved it down, and I agreed. It was 25, and then it went up to I think it was 78 for the longest time, and I think, honestly, it should be a 76. I feel like this is a 76 car. For it to go up to 79, it makes no sense to me. It really makes no sense to me. It's like they do one thing right and they do one thing wrong, right? The A45, that was the right call. For it to go down, that was the right call. RS5 to go up? No! Also, last but not least, rest in peace to the frickin' BMW 640i. This used to be the best standard tire standard tire car in the entire game, and now it's worse than the CT6 because 5.1 and 7.4. This is 5.0 and 7.9. This has to go down to Epic. I feel like Hutch didn't want to bring it down to Epic just because people would be like, oh, we're all gonna sell our legendaries, or they didn't want people to get mad. The thing is, right, Hutch, people are already mad because I know a lot of people that max this card because this was the best entire card in the game, and for them to see their investment get absolutely cut into shambles, that is unfortunate. At this point, just bring it down to an Epic. Just honestly, just bring it down to an Epic. At this point, it shouldn't be an 80. It should be like 77, if anything, or 78. It's just sad. It's really sad. That's a 10 handling cut. I don't think I've ever seen something so drastic at such a high level. That's a 10 handling cut. My God. Everything else here is just small moves. It's small moves, 80, 81, 80, 81. I don't know, man. Once again, I disagree with the Lancia going down to 81. I know it got the handling cut, but still, it has decent MRA, and 85 handling is still pretty good. The BMW going up makes no sense, because I literally said that that's one of the worst RQ80s in the game. This going up to 82 makes no sense. The Viper makes sense. The Lamborghini makes no sense. Yep, the Aston Martin makes sense. I mean, what I'm seeing here is that the Lamborghini hierarchy seems to all be moving up. Every Lamborghini that was RQ80 before has moved up to 81. Every Lamborghini that was RQ82 before is moving up to 83. I don't know why they're moving up the hierarchy for Lamborghinis. 83 to 84. Lamborghinis suck in top drives. Lamborghinis actually suck in top drives. I don't know why they're moving them up in RQ. Hutch, what you're doing here is making the Lamborghinis even more worthless. And the Bentleys as well. It's like they watched my top 3 best and top 3 worst legendary video, and they were like, okay, every card that he listed in the worst, let's move it up in RQ and make them even more worse. I mean, I think you guys watching right now can agree with me. All these Bentleys, all these Lambos, they suck. So for them to move up in RQ makes no sense to me. Bollywood moving up, that makes sense. It's 100 handling on that thing, but I feel like that should have been stayed at 83. This moving up to 85, that makes sense, and now it has slick tires as well. Finally, that got changed. M3, huge moves, 92 to 95. ZL1 moving up as well. The RS6 moving up. I feel like they're raising the cap for some of these epics. I feel like one epic moved up, so like all the epics have to move up. You know, the Banana moved up, the ZL1 moved up, the RS6 moved up. All these Porsches are moving up as well. It's pretty interesting. This might be foreshadowing future updates to come. Like, if all these cars are moving up in RQ, they're probably rescaling all these legendaries for like future cars, you know, that are going to fit in. So maybe there are going to be legendaries that are going to be the new definition of RQ89, and therefore this is moving up to 90. I don't know. I mean, once again, very minute stuff, you know, from 95 to 96, 94 to 95, just moving up by 1, moving down by 1, and if one car moves up by 1, all cars move up by 1, and that makes sense. I mean, nothing much to say about these. I agree with them, I guess. The main changes were in the lower ranks, and that's really what I wanted to focus on. For the legendaries, at the end of the day, I'm going to use a Bugatti Chiron, which is 100 RQ, so if anything is less than 100 RQ, that stonks to me. But anyway, that's going to be it. That is the final review of my reaction to PL14. For the most part, I think it was pretty spot on. A lot of the changes I agreed with, but there were some that I disagreed with, which I obviously voiced out already. But anyway, I don't want this video to be any longer than it already is, so I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.